Always make those above you feel comfortably superior. In your desire to please and impress them, do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite, inspiring fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power. Everyone has insecurities. When you show yourself in the world and display your talents, you naturally stir up all kinds of resentment, envy, and other manifestations of insecurity. This is to be expected. You cannot spend your life worrying about the petty feelings of others. With those above you, however, you must take a different approach. When it comes to power, outshining the master is perhaps the worst mistake of all. Those who attain high standing in life are no different than the kings and queens of the past. They want to feel secure in their positions, and superior to those around them in intelligence, wit, and charm. It is a deadly but common misperception to believe that by displaying and vaunting your gifts and talents, you are winning the master's affection. He may fake appreciation, but at his first opportunity he will replace you with someone less intelligent, less attractive, and less threatening. He will not admit the truth, but will find an excuse to rid himself of your presence. This law involves two rules that you must realize. First, you can inadvertently outshine a master simply by being yourself. There are masters who are more insecure than others, monstrously insecure. It is fairly common for those in positions of power to have oversize and sensitive egos. Many people who have achieved great power were driven to success by their great insecurities. You may outshine such masters with your natural charm and grace, just by being yourself. No one had more natural talents than Astore Manfredi, Prince of Faenza. The most handsome of all the young princes of Italy, he captivated his subjects with his generosity and open spirit. In the year 1500, Cesare Borgia laid siege to Faenza. When the city surrendered, the citizens expected the worst from the cruel Borgia, who however, decided to spare the town. He simply occupied its fortress, he did not execute any citizens, and allowed Prince Manfredi, 18 at the time, to remain completely free. A few weeks later, however, soldiers hauled Prince Manfredi away to prison. And a year later, his body was fished out of the river, a stone tied around his neck. Cesare Borgia was a notoriously vain and insecure man. The young Manfredi was outshining him without even trying. Given Manfredi's natural talents, the prince's mere presence made Borgia seem less attractive and charismatic. The lesson is simple. If you cannot help being charming and superior, you must learn to avoid such monsters of vanity. Either that, or find a way to mute your good qualities when in the company of a Cesare Borgia type. Second, never imagine that you can do anything you want because the master loves you. Entire books could be written about favorites who fell out of favor by taking their status for granted, for daring to outshine. In late 16th century Japan, the favorite of Emperor Hideyoshi was a man called Senoriku. He was the premier artist of the tea ceremony, and one of Hideyoshi's most trusted advisors. He had his own apartment in the palace and was honored throughout Japan. Yet in 1591, Hideyoshi had him arrested and sentenced to death. The cause for his sudden change of fortune was discovered later. It seems Rikyū, who was born a peasant, had a wooden statue made of himself wearing sandals, a sign of nobility, and posing haughtily. He had this statue placed in the most important temple inside the palace gates, where all the nobility would pass by. To Hideyoshi this signified that Rikyū had no sense of limits. Presuming that he had the same rights as those of the highest nobility, he had forgotten that his position depended on the emperor, and had come to believe that he earned it on his own. This was an unforgivable miscalculation of his own importance, and he paid for it with his life. Always remember this. Never take your position for granted. And never let any favors you receive go to your head. Knowing the dangers of outshining your master, you can turn this law to your advantage. First, you must flatter and puff up your master. Overt flattery can be effective, but it has its limits. It is too direct and obvious. Discreet flattery is much more powerful. For example, if you are more intelligent than your master, make him appear more intelligent than you. Act naive. Make it seem you need his expertise. Commit harmless mistakes that will not hurt you in the long run, but will give you the chance to ask for his help. Masters love such requests. A master who cannot bestow upon you the gifts of his experience, may direct animosity at you instead. If your ideas are more creative than your master's, ascribe them to him, and in as public a manner as possible. Make it clear that your advice is merely an echo of the master's advice. If you surpass your master in wit, it is okay to play the role of the court jester, but do not make him appear cold and surly by comparison. Tone down your humor if necessary, and find ways to make him seem the dealer of amusement and good cheer. If you are naturally more sociable and generous than your master, be careful not to be the cloud that blocks his radiance from others. He must appear as the sun around which everyone revolves. The center of attention, radiating brilliance and power. Any attempt to impress him with your grace and generosity could prove fatal. In all of these cases, it is not a weakness to disguise your strengths if in the end they lead to power. By letting others outshine you, you remain in control, instead of being a victim of their insecurity. This will all come in handy the day you decide to make your move, and rise above your inferior status. The reversal. You cannot worry about upsetting every person you come across, but you must be selectively cruel. If your superior is a falling star, there is nothing to fear from outshining him. Do not be merciful, your master had no problem being ruthless in his own cold-blooded climb to the top. Gauge his strength. If he is weak, discreetly hasten his downfall. Outdo, outcharm, outsmart him at key moments. If he is very weak, feeble and ready to fall, then let nature take its course. Do not risk outshining a feeble superior, it might appear cruel or spiteful. But if your master is firm in his position of power, yet you know yourself to be more capable than him, bide your time and be patient. It is the natural course of things, that power eventually fades and weakens. Your master will fall someday, and if you play it right, you will outlive and someday outshine him.